Welcome to the Vibrant You Health Show with your host, Blake Bars. At Nature's Pantry, our mission is to lead you to vibrant health through the best nutrition, supplementation, service, expertise, and healthy choices. In this show, we aren't interested in fads or quick fixes. Rather, we want to get into the holistic fundamentals of health. We want to answer questions like, what are the underlying causes to health issues, and what solutions can help lead us to vibrant health? You can watch every episode and listen to the podcast by visiting our website at naturespantry.life. The Vibrant You Health Show is brought to you by Terry Naturally Vitamins and Solar Ray Vitamins. At Nature's Pantry, we strive to work only with companies that maintain the highest standards for quality and efficacy. Terry Naturally and Solar Ray are two of the absolute best.
3, 2, 1.
So you guys said you were here on the first day. The first day too, for check-in?
I didn't get
Okay. So I'm Lasa Baxter, and I grew up in Union, Oregon originally when I was a kid, and I've been living around for the most part ever since. I come from a big family in the local area and have spent a lot of time being involved in the community here. But I want to tell you a couple of things about me, and it's going to sound a little bit like I'm writing a novel. But I want to tell you that I'm just newly married for the first time, October, my first and only. I feel fit and healthy. I own my own home. I own my own car. I have no student loans. I have no credit card debt. I'm a state volleyball championship coach. I'm an OACA Coach of the Year. I'm a certified nutritionist. I'm a certified personal trainer and behavioral, lifestyle, and gut health coach. I own my own business, but I also work for the Oregon Health Authority for 29 years for a career. I don't tell you all of that stuff to brag. I tell you that because I wasn't always the most talented athlete. I didn't earn big awards growing up. I lost 3 state championships before I won one. I switched my education routes numerous times. I started in nursing, went to dental hygiene, then to exercise science. So went through changes in my education. I had 3 really solid long-term relationships that I thought might end in marriage and didn't. And I had student loan debt, and I had credit card debt, and I tell you all this stuff, it's very personal information because I want you to see where I didn't give up on my dreams. I didn't give up on my goals. There's no expiration no expiration date for those things that are really planted as seeds in your heart that you're meant to do. And so I want you to think about when we're going through goal setting, I want you to really think big and think about big dreams, what you want to be your reality. You're never too old, you're never too out of shape, you never have not enough money or not enough relationships or all those things that come to mind as barriers for you. I don't have the intelligence or the skill or the education or the money or the things that pop up and want to creep in and tell you that you can't. I want you to put those aside today as you start looking at what you really want to achieve. And I want you to think big. And I want you to be very visual in your brain about what that looks like in detail. So just setting the stage a little bit for filling out what we call a SMART goal template. I want you to do a couple things. If I call on you, will you promise to be all in and participate? Yes, yes, yes. These are goals for today. All in participation, honing your focus so that you can be more effective and more efficient. You're going to prioritize actionable behaviors, and you're going to prepare. And you're going to create structure in your life and processes and systems that actually support your goals, and that's what is going to get you to the end result that you want. So you guys can see that my presentation up here in front, but you are meant to do big things. There's a calling on your life to do big things. And to accomplish big things, your body has to be healthy enough to be able to perform under the demand it takes to do big things. And I like to say this, If your body is not prepared to serve you in the pursuit of your dreams, your own neglect will run interference on your life's purpose.
Yep.
It's a big statement, and it kind of feels heavy when you say it because there's responsibility there, but it's so true. When we put things off, when we don't hold ourselves accountable, then we have run interference on being able to pursue what we were intended to pursue. So how you treat your body matters. When I do my big full presentation on this, I get big time into gut health and nutrition into detail, and I'm not going to do that with you guys today. But if you want to talk to me about those things, I'm happy to. So this life really is short, even if we live to 120 like I want to. It really is short and it goes by fast. And so it's critical that you have a sense of urgency over making changes that are important to you, and that you feel that tenacious urge to move towards those things. I want you to start listening to that and start taking actionable behavior. So towards those things, if you feel that constant, like, keeps coming back and you keep wanting to do this thing and you keep having the same ideas or similar ideas coming into your life that you need to make change in an area or you want to do something new, listen to that. It's there for a reason. And then start writing it down, start planning out how you can achieve it, and just take actionable behavior towards those goals. Okay, let's get started. So one of the things that I typically do is I have you guys just kind of get in a good mental state. So we do what we call box breathing, just for a quick second. And we're gonna sit up in our chair, and we're gonna, if you guys have papers, so if we do that, we can either set them aside or we can set them flat, but I want you to have your hands on your quads and sit up tall and feel your feet on the floor, feel your hands on your legs, feel your posture be nice and upright, your chin's not slumped forward. And then I want you to just close your eyes and exhale all your breath. And then when you go to breathe, in your next breath, I want you to breathe to a count of 4 through your nose, nice and slow. And I want you to pay attention to your breath, but I also want you to kind of shift your eyes while they're closed right to the center between your eyes, kind of above the nose. And I want you to repeat this process. Breathe in through your nose to a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 4, and then breathe out through your nose for a count of 4. And we're going to do that 4 times. And when you feel like you're ready, you can open your eyes. I think it's important to hone your focus so that you're not scattered when you're organizing your thoughts and trying to make actionable behaviors. And I think one of the most important things that we do when we move forward is that we really try to hone in on what are the key, biggest actionable behaviors that you're going to take that are going to move the needle the brightest, the fastest. So we want to make sure that we really kind of clear our mind and shift from whatever we were thinking about. And we talked about juice and fingernail polish and all these things, and we're going to get focused on what is it you want? What is it you feel like you're meant to be, you're meant to become? And I'll give you some examples of presentations in the past. I've had people say everything from I want to be a better dad, where you had to really look at what does that look like? What does that mean to that person? I've had people say I want to be able to foster children in my home, and what do they need to do to pursue that? I've had people say I want to lose 25 pounds. I've had people say I want to write a book. I want to go to massage therapy school. I mean, the list is long. So there's no wrong answer. And right now I know we are in a health challenge, right? But some of the things that impact your health are really your routines and your processes and your systems. So sometimes it's changing those or letting go of some of those things and not always adding a lot of extra. So kind of keep those things in mind while we're walking through this process. Just a quick note, James Clear's the quote that I have here. In a world where information is abundant and easy to access, the real advantage is knowing where to focus. James Clear has a book called, I forget, on habits. That's phenomenal. And he has a website you can sign up for free emails, and he gives you all kinds of fun quotes if you're kind of a quote type person.
What's the power of habit?
It is Atomic Habits, just came to me. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go straight away to your forms for a little bit. And so you each have a SMART goal template for forms. And what SMART stands for, it's an acronym, so it stands for being specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And then I have direct questions I want you guys to start working on filling out. But before we do that, I want you to flip your paper over. And I'm going to give you just like 3 minutes. And you guys are going to brainstorm for just a little bit on your own. What are your goals? What are your dreams? What is your mission? What are your list of desired outcomes? What is it you're looking for out of this challenge or after this challenge? What's kind of pressing on you? And don't feel like it has to be trapped in any one thing or category. And you guys can be writing down all kinds of things, but it could be, let's find like 3 to 5 things. If you're watching this episode on video, please press the pause button. Take a moment to fill out or start brainstorming your ideas for your goal setting. So this is the process where we're going to kind of have some interactive time. And I'm going to ask you to share some of your just brainstormed ideas real quick in your list, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, Beth.
Okay. Beth, would you mind?
Here's Beth.
So, actually I keep coming back to this a lot, and then number one is being better health-minded, whether it's physical, whether it's what I'm eating, exercising my mind. I have watched my mom and my grandmother slowly get old and just let it happen. And my mother has lots of mobility, and then 80, I want to still be able to move. I still want to be able to drive my car. I still want to get up and be functional in the morning. Along with that comes my daily reading scripture and spending time in meditation and prayer. I believe that my spirit and my mind are just as important as well as my relationship with Christ is as important as what I'm doing with my body. Learning to pick my battles and letting things go. They don't matter, you know. And I guess just getting stronger and having more, enjoying life more.
Perfect, thank you. Those are all really good. So as you guys are listening, I don't want you to think, oh, that's not where I went with this, or that's just totally different than mine. I want you to think it's okay to do something entirely different and be unique to you. That everything is good.
Julie.
All right, well, mine are not necessarily health directly, but they're like things I want to have energy for. And be able to, balance my life better. I put that when I finish the novel that I'm writing. I'm writing a fantasy sci-fi novel, and I want to be able to actually finish that, and I haven't found time. I want to make a better income with my e-com business, which has been always a side hustle that's never really gone anywhere, but I enjoy it, and it'd be nice to see it grow a little bit more. Become a mom, and some of that is going through fertility testing right now, and also looking into adoption options. So there's a lot going on with that right now, and just figuring out what that looks like and what our next steps will be. Get my singing voice up to a professional level, which I'm working on, but I am kind of lapsed in my voice training. And honestly, to get just a chance to do a little bit of acting, but not professionally, but just have an opportunity to be in a play or something like that. So those are mine.
You guys are so cool. You guys are so cool. All these ideas are so, every one of them are so cool.
Mine are a little bit more plain, but trying to get out of debt and get to the place where I can buy a home or some property or something. And so being financially stable, be able to, I guess, stability with the resources to be able to give to others, to be able to invite some people over to my home, practice hospitality. So all those kind of all go together, you know, have a place for my kids, my grandkids to come and visit. I would like to lose 25 pounds. That'd be awesome. And then I also have this, everybody says you need to write a book, but I have no idea how to even start. So either music or, you know, just pursuing a lot of different, I have so many different interests, so trying to figure out how to, I guess maybe one of my goals is how do I focus in on which goal to start with. So that's right up at the top.
Here to work.
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing, Rosa.
Thing that I cannot leave the way it is. I can't accept it the way it is. It's not meant to be where it is. Think about so you have an emotional tie to this, so you have an investment in this. Why is this important to achieve? And there's no wrong answer. If you want to lose 25 pounds to look like a rock star on a stage, that's okay too. Does anybody feel ready to share some of the items that they wrote down? Okay, great. So mine was at 25 pounds. Reason why I want to do it is because I want to be able to work and still have energy left over to do the other things that are really more of a life mission statement than just earning money. So the physical stamina through the day. So my interference, is it by diet? Is it in some underlying health issue that I don't know about? Is it stress? And it makes it, what makes it unacceptable the way it is because I need to be able to have the energy to work and have energy left over. And it frustrates me to be in the dark about what the interference is from keeping me from that goal. It's really good. Thank you for sharing. I want to make sure I got this right. So we're saying why it's important. Is that correct? You can talk about why it's important, but also talk about things that you thought of that you needed to inquire about or learn or change, or you think, like actions that you might need to take. So for writing my novel, when I get going, I really get going, but then I have these long breaks in between. I can make time, but I have an issue prioritizing and cutting other things out. And I just end up filling my plate and filling my plate and filling my plate.
and it never gets done. And always time lapses, and the more I'm away from it, the harder it is to get to. So that's kind of the issue I've been running into. I find it important because I realized, and it took me time to kind of come to this understanding that I have a talent and I don't want to waste it. And it feels good when I write. It feels really good. I can create these worlds that I didn't realize I could create. It's kind of a late discovery in my life. And I don't want to stop. I think that I should cultivate it and maybe publish one day. So I believe 100% that you're meant to do that. And that's a special gift and talent for you. And that it feels good because that's what you're intended to do. I want to share with you a couple of thoughts before Beth goes. And I want you to think about this as we move to the next step. Have you ever heard of RXing your goals? It kind of means if you think, I could get there in 3 years, I'm going to tell you, let's get there 10 times faster. Okay. And we want to talk about what does that look like. And so some of the things, and I mentioned this before, sometimes we put too many barriers in front of ourselves and we take on too many things, and maybe we don't say no to the right things and yes to the right things. And so I want you to think about what's causing, for example, in your case, the lag. When you get going, you're on a roll and it feels good. What's causing that lag? Is it that you're not creating time in that space? Are you not prioritizing that time for yourself? Are you not doing that out of guilt from, trying to do other things, being a spouse, being a parent, being whatever that looks like for each person. But I want you to kind of think of that. What if right now, what your default habits are, default processes, default systems, the things that you tend to go towards and trend towards and you do all the time and you think are working? What if only 10 or 20% are actually working? And we want to really look at that. And we want to look at what's working really. And what is it that we're doing that just kind of keeps us doing the same thing, and we're trolling along and we're la-da-da-da-da, but we're not really getting anywhere in a hurry, and time's going by. And so I want you to think about, and I'll give you an example. Last year when we did this, there was a gal that was doing the challenge who was trying to lose 25 pounds. And each year she kept going back to doing a hiking group that she enjoyed, but kind of felt like it was an obligation to these other women. And she, kind of was sort of not 100% in. But it also, when I met with her, wasn't really what was going to serve her in losing the 25 pounds the fastest and in the best possible way. And so what that person was doing was continuing to default to that same pattern and let other people dictate the commitment, when instead of going, it's actually okay to prioritize my health and it's okay to carve out 30 minutes or 40 minutes daily for me in whatever way that looks like for my health benefit. And then just learning what the best way to approach that is with somebody who is an expert. Because there are a lot of people that have come before you and that have done things that know in their field, including people that I reach out to learn from. And so instead of reinventing the wheel, invest in someone, whether it's over coffee, whether it's a payment, whether it's a business arrangement you have, invest in learning from somebody who's already an expert and gone before you. So those are some of the suggestions. And then Beth, I'm going to let you go.
Most of mine's just distraction, life in general. Sometimes I can do several days and be devoted and do what I need to do. And then life happens, something at work, my husband, and then I just get distracted. Those are the times I think that I need to be doing, and cutting that time out. Mostly because it probably would help me pick my battles.
To achieve my goals, I really need to be able to attract and retain the right people, because there's no way. The whole goal is to bring people together and build people up to prosper in health and spirit and God-given purpose, and build this health institute. And this is not about me. It's about the team. It's about the people fulfilling their purpose. It's about the people we're serving and helping. And to do that, it's not about me doing all these things. It's about me bringing in the right people to do the right roles and empowering them to do what they need to do. But if you're going to do that, you're going to be able to pay people, right? And so figuring that, how do I empower people better? How do I delegate better? How do I attract and retain the right people? And then looking to, like Lasa's saying, with mentors, there's some people I know who have built similar organizations with multiple doctors or multiple health pros. And so reach out to a couple of these guys who I've connected with and kind of see how they did it.
Blake, thanks for sharing that. So you guys, this is kind of an interesting thing. So I had a goal for this year. I like to title every year. It's not necessarily like a New Year's resolution type thing. It's just I like to title the year. So 24 was 2024 made for more. And one of the things that I wanted to do, and I had specifically spoken it out loud and talked about it to my spouse and said, I really want some of these people I listen to diligently. I'm learning from them in podcasts. They're bringing in some of the most incredible experts and some of the most, up-to-date science. I really want to immerse myself in some conferences. I want to go and be around these people. And I randomly came across on Instagram a conference. I don't even know how I got to where I saw this, but there was a conference for essentially like all these movements in longevity and health, from everything from stem cell research to gene therapy to, cold plunging to, just all the things. Working on heart rate variability, just all these things. Well, so they had a giveaway for this conference to win tickets. And I thought, so I followed all the things you do on Instagram for a giveaway to win tickets. And I win the tickets to Austin, Texas for this, with these people that are like world-renowned, like famous, very intelligent, very experienced people that I'm like, what in the world? And they contact me directly and ask me, are you really going to show up? Because we see that you're from Oregon. And if you're not, we would prefer that someone does actually attend, and we would like to give them to somebody who's going to attend. I was like, I was, I wasn't planning a trip to Austin, Texas. It just randomly appeared in February. So really close early on in the year. What an unbelievable experience. And what I want to say about that, what Blake's saying is, these people are the same as you and me. They have information maybe that I haven't learned yet, or they've had experiences that I haven't yet. But, instead of having to go through all the 10 million years of doing it that they did, I'm able to ride on their shoulders and get all the information sooner and faster and implement it sooner and faster. And I'm standing around with Dave Asprey and Ben Greenfield and all these famous people that are doing incredible work. So again, praying about these things, whatever you want to call it, manifesting these things, asking for these things, thinking that wasn't put on my heart by accident. And I'm a firm believer that happened all for a reason. So I could continue to give back in the way that really makes me feel full.
Hey, it's Nicole Haggerty, your holistic health and fitness coach. If you want to improve your health and life and get lasting results, you have to be the change you want to see. Let me help you be that change. Find me at NicoleHaggerty.com.
Hey, Eastern Oregon. My name is Justin Hernandez. I specialize in sports performance training for middle school, high school, and college athletes. My program goal is to optimize an athlete's potential on all playing surfaces. The Breakfast Club motto is creating elite athletes, but even better leaders.
This is Summer Steele of Body Seorsa. I am a licensed massage therapist and certified personal trainer. I work with bodies of all shapes, sizes, and abilities to help them live a fuller and freer life. Connect with me on Instagram and Facebook under Body Seorsa, Body SAORSA, or contact me at 541-786-5245.
My name is Blake Bars, and I'm General Manager of Nature's Pantry here in La Grande. I had a terribly unhealthy lifestyle when I started working here. I just didn't know how simple and powerful healthy habits could be. Now I love being able to lead others to vibrant health here at the store, through the health show, and in the health challenges we host twice per year. Learn more at naturespantry.life.
Hey friends, Lasa here with Wild Holistic Nutrition and Fitness. As a certified personal trainer and holistic nutritionist with 17 years of experience, I'm passionate about guiding others in their journey to wellness. I work in the areas of sports performance, group and individual fitness, personal training, behavioral and nutritional coaching, and gut biome health and assessment. I'd love to help you feel good so that you can thrive and meet the purpose you were made for.
Tim James here, founder of ChemicalFreeBody.com and host of the Health Hero Show. After regaining my own health and having massive gut issues and surgery, I'm on a mission to help others do the same. If you're ready to make your health a priority, lose that weight, increase your energy, and just wake up and feel good, you can reach me at ChemicalFreeBody.com.
Okay, so this is the time you get to flip over that form and we get to start filling it out because this is how we're going to get detailed. So all of you selected the number one thing that you were going to focus on. So what do I want to achieve? I want you to write down what that number one thing was you were going to focus on. And then I want you to write down under that, why did you want to achieve it? What makes it something that you just can't leave the way that it is? It can't be left undone. It keeps coming up, keeps being a desire in your heart. And the goal is to be as specific as possible. So for those of you who are watching on video, this is an opportunity for you to start completing the SMART form template. You can pause the video. And then the last thing in that category is who is involved. So I'm going to give you another example of my spouse because I went through, poor guy has been a guinea pig many times. And yesterday morning, I was running through with my spouse. I said, quick, give me a goal that you want to achieve. And so he came up with something cheesy, of course, because it was on the spot. He said, I want my biceps to be like 1 inch bigger. And I was like, okay, great. I said, why is this something that you can't leave the way that it is? And he said, and of course, he was kind of making things up, but he said, because I can't get a date with the ladies and I need my biceps to be bigger to grow my confidence. And I said, legitimate reason. And then I said, who's going to be involved? And he said, me. And I said, if you think it's only you involved in your goals, mistaken. So I want you to think about that. Who's involved? Because you're going to need somebody to be bought in with you and to encourage you and not discourage you, likely within your own home. And if you don't have anyone else in your own home, then a friend or a family member or a coworker or somebody that you know will support you and not poo-poo your dreams. That might be somebody you hire. It might be accountability with a trainer. It might be a publisher or an editor that says you need to do this by this date. So just think about those kind of things. Who might be involved? And then we're going to move to measurable. And this is where things get really specific. How will I measure my progress? And I want you to I'll give you a scenario. So when I talked to my spouse and he gave me that example of getting 1 inch bigger biceps, it was kind of funny. I said, well, how often are you going to train to get these 1 inch bigger biceps? He said, 5 days a week. And I said, okay, how much time is involved? And he said, 30 minutes. I said, 30 minutes, 5 times a week on your biceps? I said, is that reasonable? And he said, sure. But I want you to really think, is it reasonable? And then I want you to be so specific that you think of, if I'm going to write my book in your example, and I'm going to spend time on that, When is the best time of day? When am I the freshest? When do I feel creative? Is it at 8 o'clock in the morning when I'm bright and all your serotonin's flowing and you feel good? Or is it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? And you want to pick a time where it's optimal, if possible, for you to be creative. And you want to pick a reasonable amount of time that you can commit to it. At least, if this is an important goal to you, at least a little bit of time every day. And if that's looks like 20 minutes, 30 minutes for you every day, and then you can take that and go, okay, I can't do it every day, but I can do it 4 days. Then can you do 40 minutes or 60 minutes on the 4 days? But try to think about, I'm going to devote an hour a day to me achieving this goal is a really big way to RX. Okay, so that's a big way to get way farther along faster. And then, so I really do want you to think, what days? Is it Monday, Wednesday, Friday? How long? What time of day? So in the instance of like being God-centered, if maybe that's meditation, scripture reading time. I don't know. But if that is, when are you going to do it? When is your brain the freshest to, really take in the material? When are you less calm to feel like you're in a good state? And then set appointments on your calendar. This is important. I don't want you to overlook this and go, whatever. I want you to mark out the time in your calendar, and I want you to say no to every other request that comes in that time. That's your time. It's your commitment, and it's 100% okay to be committed to this goal. So again, the importance of the time setting is, when is a time that I'm going to have the least amount of barriers and the least amount of interruption? And we know, there might be family things or something that comes up that you might have to make a different decision. But for the most part, on a daily basis, what's going to work for you that you can stay committed to? I put appointments on my phone calendar and my Google calendar, and I mark it out. And if I don't, then I will tell you, the better you get at things, the more proficient you are at things, the more people want of your time, and the more you get asked, and the more you get overcommitted, and the more you're, and you don't have time for you to reach those goals. And you can get spread out and strung out and frustrated. And it's super important to be able to carve out time that you've adamantly scheduled. And this is when you're doing the work. Okay. How are you doing, you guys? Have you been able to fill out first box on specific and the second box on measurable? Okay, so on achievable, how will you know when your goal is achieved? For example, will you have a reward at the end? Will you announce it? Will you take a before picture and an after picture? Will you post that you're going to do this challenge on social media so that everybody knows you're doing it, so that you have this, even if they don't care, you have this built-in accountability of like, everyone's watching me because I said I was going to do this thing? Or do you have a family member, or do you have a professional that you can be accountable to? But how are you going to know when you achieved it? What does it look like? What is that feeling of like, okay, I've met this goal and then I need to start implementing or rolling into the next thing? What is that going to look like for you? Are you guys ahead of me? Or have you been able to work on the achievable box? How are we doing? Okay. Let me know if we need help, because I'm going to keep talking while you guys are writing. So the next box is all about relevancy and if it's relevant. So why is the goal personally important? And this is where I want you to think of what is emotionally important to you and why would you be emotionally invested in this goal? And I want you to write down what that looks like. And then I want you to think, how is this goal related to improving my personal wellness or success in other areas? The last box is on time. And so when I asked my spouse, how long do you think it should take to accomplish your goal of getting 1 inch bigger biceps? He said 1 year. I said, way too long. We need to RX this. So we talked about that, and we talked about, as a coach, like how much training, what kind of nutrition, what the frequency would be, and then what's a reasonable timeline to gain body mass that way. And we came up with a timeline in which we would accomplish that goal. So I said no more than 12 weeks. And in that, I know that's reasonable, but the only reason I know that's reasonable because I've done this for years and years and years and have lots of experience and education with it. So he was able to tap into an expert's brain. I want you to remind you of that as you're going through this. If you're going to write a book, you want to sit down with people that know what that looks like and have experienced that. And there's some local writers here that would probably love to get together with you and talk about the process, and probably wouldn't ask for a thing other than sitting down to tea or coffee or something. Is it reasonable to complete the goal in the time you originally wrote down? And if so, I want to know why. Why do you think it's reasonable? So I want you to have like something to back that up. And I want you to really think through it, because if it's too long, too far out, we might want to shorten that up. We might want to look at like what are actual behaviors going to be that are going to get you there sooner. Okay, this is what I wanted. So then when we'll pause and we'll go through these, and then I want to work with you guys to try to come up with some ideas so that you have something tangible when you leave today. When will I check in on whether I'm on target to meet the goal in the timeline that was set, and with whom? So I'm going to give you an example again from the one I was using. I think that there should be accountability at least bi-weekly to look at body composition and measurements, to look at food journals and goals, and to just dial in like, where do we need to make improvements? So and that might not be applicable in each one of yours, but we want to look at like, how often should we be taking a look at like, are we on target? How well have we done? So if you journal your process, write down like what you did on the days and when you did it, then you kind of have a reflection journal to be able to go back and go, what's working, what isn't. Are you ready to start? So if you were to rank it from 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, give it a number. Are you ready to start? How invested are you really? Because I know a lot of dabblers out there, and dabblers don't go very far. And when you dabble, you get frustrated and you get tired and you kind of throw your hands in the air because you don't really have a clear pathway to where you want to go. And then the last is, if you're ready and you're close to that 10 mark, I want you to write down, when is your start date? And we might revisit this whole thing and we might clean up and go, okay, we're going to change that start date. So I'll give you an example. When I asked my spouse, when do you start? He said, tomorrow. I said, tomorrow? What, you have to get a workout plan developed. You've got to map out food. You got to grocery shop. You got to get preparation. You got to know exactly what your food plan is. Like, how long is it going to take you to do that? And he said, 3 days. I said, okay, you start Monday. So these are the kind of things that you have to really think through, and that can derail somebody really quick and get frustrated if they don't think through the process of like setting themselves up. Okay. So if anyone's willing to share, you want to start where you had some questions and we could go through the process of like what your goal looked like. Would you mind sharing? And then we could go through the process of like asking some of the questions that you had. That would be great.
Okay, so losing 25 pounds, it's really all about the energy. So it's like getting my lean body mass, getting flexibility. It's really the full fitness deal. It's not just about losing a number on a scale, because I don't have a scale. Haven't had a scale for 15 years. So I guess how will I measure my progress? I'm going to have somebody keep me accountable. I do need a personal trainer. I don't know how frequent to work out. I don't know how that works in with trying to get into a workout schedule when you're already exhausted and then trying to do more to it so you don't end up more exhausted at the end of the week.
So let's pause. Okay. So let's try to resolve a couple of those things real quick. Okay. So you want to lose 25 pounds of body fat. We don't want to just lose weight. What's the best way to lose body fat? Is it exercise? No, it's diet first. I'm not telling you not to exercise. You know, I'm a personal trainer and I love to be crazy. And I couldn't imagine my life without fitness. And that's going to huge proponent. And that's important. But your nutrition is going to be 70 to 80% of your success. So this might shift where you could meet with somebody and talk to somebody, say, where do I need to start? And we go, okay, we need to start with my nutrition. We need to really dial it in. What causes someone to gain fat is not typically fat in your diet. It's typically sugar, processed foods that turn into sugar, high starchy type foods. But those that are already pre-processed or full of sugar are going to get into the body quicker, faster, and you're going to have a high glycemic response to that, insulin response, and then you're going to gain fat because you can't expend it fast enough before you store it. So we want to take a look at the food and look, what can we eliminate and what can we replace that with that's going to really make a difference. And one of the most important things is prioritizing, especially for anybody that's 40 and up, but I would say everybody, that protein needs to be prioritized to diminish cravings. Protein needs to be prioritized because it doesn't create an insulin response or a blood sugar response, which is going to then trend towards storing fat. So that's going to also help you feel satiated and full, and it's going to diminish cravings. So we want to prioritize that, and we want to prioritize whole foods, lots of fruits, lots of vegetables. But when we look at fruits, we want to be whole foods as much as possible, not dried fruits, which are concentrated sugars. We want to minimize foods that are very high in those things. So those are big alterations and potential changes. So just taking a look at your food and maybe journaling it for 1 week and looking at what are things, take a highlighter to it, and what are things when you go through it that might need alterations, where we might need to make some adjustments. We might need to choose some different products, or we might want to switch something out and find some different recipes or whatever those things are. So really get more simple. If we get too broad-based, and I'll give you the example of the man who wanted to be a better father. I said, what does that look like for you? And he said, I want to spend more time with my daughter. I said, how old's your daughter? He said, 3. I said, what does that look like for you? Spending more time with your daughter. He said, reading books. I said, okay, when are you going to read books? What days? What time? For how long? What books? And then he was like, I have somewhere specific to go. So it was like, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 p.m. for 20 minutes. And these were the books he was going to pick. It makes things a little more simple. So when you're looking at that with food and diet, you might need some expertise in working through that process if you don't know, or maybe it means you need to invest in yourself and take a course or a class or read a book, follow a plan. A lot of us have pretty dialed in plans that would get you a long ways in 10 days, 7 days, and kind of get buy-in and start the process ticking away. But that's what I want you guys to think about a little bit. So then I'm going to let you continue on in because you had more things that you weren't sure you had all the answers for.
Well, it just, even the measurable, how do you measure that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Is that just focusing just on the nutrition, don't worry about the exercise, or do we do both? I guess that's another.
I would say 2 things. You can take your body composition and pictures and circumference measurements and kind of do something like that to check in physically on a bi-monthly basis, like every 2 weeks. But the important thing would be if you look at your food journal and you write it down, and then you're looking at where do I need to make adjustments. Maybe part of your accountability is I take it to an expert who can look at it and say, these would be optimal. Remove this, add this. This is a good recipe for that. Or this is a simple way to achieve that. But somebody who can really guide you might be part of your accountability and buy-in. But think about, what do you want that to look like? Do you want to talk to a coach for 30 minutes twice a month? And so you might have some homework to do as far as like, what does that look like for you? and what cost might be involved, and is that affordable? So those are just some of the things I want you guys to really hone in on. This is important because when you walk through the process, if you're not set up for success in the beginning, you'll flounder. So you want to really dial in what you're looking for. Okay. And then, so measurements can be as real as like literal measurements, which are very valuable. And then looking at your food journal, one of the things I've done is worn a continuous glucose monitor, and that shows me, one, it lets me record all of my food and my fitness, but it allows me to see what my response is to food and if I'm having a high glycemic response to food. And everyone is very individual and different in how that works. For example, like Blake can probably eat a lot of beans and legumes. He's accustomed to that, and he won't have a blood sugar spike, but I know that I have from certain types of beans. So I have to know that and just adjust what's going to work for me in this moment. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, I was just going to say, just adding on, like, where do you start, or is it diet or exercise, and I just say one thing at a time, and that's what the challenge, like, we have it's very comprehensive. But there's no way we can try to, if we don't have all those habits, all 20 or however many things there is there, if we don't have all those habits, there's no way you're going to get all those habits in 30 days. But that's why I always say focus on one thing that you're really trying to improve. Read the categories every single day. Keep your points every single day. But really, really focus in one area that you're trying to improve. And then what happens when you get that one thing down is you're going to notice some of the other habits start to happen a lot faster. And then the other thing is, after you've done 10 challenges, like I have, all of them are habits. So it's like, oh, I already do all this. And, it's not perfect, and it's not perfect every day, but pretty much the foundation's there. One thing Linda always taught me was she's the founder of Nature's Pantry. And she always taught me, focus on adding in one good thing at a time. And slowly over time, the good things will get crowded out.
Now, if your goal is a shorter term, you need to replace things faster, but we need to, like Lisa said, you want to remove things and replace them. You don't ever want to just remove because now I have a deficit. You always want to replace a bad habit with a good habit.
Blake, thanks for adding to that. I think he uses that term like crowding out, and I use the idea of find the one thing that is going to move the needle the farthest, the fastest towards your goal. And then what happens is there's a snowball effect. So Blake's done this challenge 10 times. I've done 75 hard challenge 3 years in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Well, what I notice is, and this year was no exception, it's easier and easier. And what started out as like exhausting, intentionally so, it's meant to really press you, mentally, emotionally, and physically. I came away with like, why is this easier? Well, it's because year after year, time after time, I've been layering these things in little by little, and they just are part of my habits. They've just become me. This is who I am now. And it's not as hard. And the girls that I've encouraged to do it alongside me are having the same experiences. It's getting better and better and easier. And I'm like, well, now what? Okay, I still want to hear from this whole process.
I don't even know where we're at.
I think we're on achievable.
Achievable. I guess how will I know if my goal's achieved? Obviously, when measurements are smaller, like body mass index, energy and stamina, but how will I make it clear when the goal is complete? I don't know, because I'm not really much into rewards and showing off, that kind of stuff. So that would be something I wouldn't want to do.
Sure. So your first answers were awesome, and I think that there's no wrong answer there. And it doesn't have to be a reward or it doesn't have to be necessarily something out in public either. But maybe it's like, well, you saved the whole time and put money away when you were spending it on a chocolate bar. And you're going to take those resources and you're going to save it to the end, and you're going to buy yourself a new pair of awesome hiking shoes because that's what you want to do. So those are the kind of things that I'll do. I'll go, okay, well, I'm taking all the sugar out and all the money that would have been kind of budgeted in there. Let's see. I'll be able to see from my grocery budget from month to month how much it went down. And I'm like, oh, that money's going to go into new training watch, something like that. So it can be personal, it might be just like the reward, honestly, like I like a gold star. I mean, and I'm not joking. We had a college anatomy and physiology teacher that used to put gold stars on tests, and I couldn't believe, like, still at like 20, 21 years old, I was like, I still like this. I'm still motivated by it. I feel cool. I'm like you get your test back and you're like, yeah, and gold star. So it doesn't have to be big, it can be small. Pictures, say 1,000 words and no one has to see it but you. And so you might take a picture and the reward might be like, wow, look at the investment I made and look how I look and feel. So that might be one thing. Okay, so relevancy, let's look at that in that category.
Why is it though personally important? I think it's all about the energy, because the end result is, I don't want to be dead at the end of the work week and lay in bed for a full day trying to recover. So I guess that's part of it, is just, it's because it leads me to the next goals. So this is just kind of a, how do I move the needle? So that's really, so emotionally invested, it leads to, spending more time with my family, spending more time doing the things that I want to do outside of work, enjoying my work better. It's just all kind of enjoying life everywhere I go, instead of wishing that I had done something different, or I had more energy, or I had more time, or I wish I could, I could have done this or that. So
that's a beautiful thing. I think those are all good answers, and I don't think you need more than that. I think that's really telling of giving you that kind of power behind what your intentions are. Okay, so the last one is time. How long do you think it should take to accomplish your goal?
I have no idea.
Well, depending on how well you're sleeping, which I would say would maybe be prioritized even over the food. You're sleeping your food, but your food will integrally affect the sleep, and how much time you're getting outside and all kinds of things, your stress. But I would say when you can easily, depending on what plan you're on, you might be able to lose 1 to 5 pounds in a week. But if you average that out, let's say 1 to 2 pounds a week. So if you're looking at that, and I would probably go with like 2 is reasonable. And it's not gonna be perfect every week. Sometimes it'll be 1, sometimes it'll be plateaued, sometimes it'll be 5, but it'll always go like this, and then up and then down, and then up and then down, but it's always going overall down. And when you look at that, you go, okay, well, if it's average 2 per week, 25 times 2 is how many weeks? And then we go, that's where our target is, and that is reasonable.
And 12, 13 weeks.
And then we would want to know, when are you going to check in on whether you're on target and with who, so if there's some accountability. Is there someone in your home? Is there a professional? What might that look like for you? And then when you ranked how ready you were, what was your ranking?
I didn't answer that
Why not?
Well, because I didn't know where to start.
Okay, that makes sense.
So,
Yep, you'll feel more ready when you feel ready to start.
yeah, now that I know it's starting with the nutrition end of it, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go, run a 10 on that one.
Awesome.
And then start date, I was thinking, trying to do a workout every day. That was just oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. So I could start this next week, easily.
Wonderful. So I think that then blasting out of the gates and getting going, when you know that changing your nutrition is going to change your energy level, alongside getting enough sleep, those two things are going to pump that energy up, and then all of a sudden you're going to be like, I want to get a workout in. I feel like I have energy for a workout. And then you can kind of master that next thing. So, does anyone else have questions? Because I wanted to work through at least one scenario, but I want to make sure you all walk away feeling like you have a very solid plan moving forward. And feel free to reach out to me too, because if you have questions like, hey, what do you think about Is this reasonable, or what, is that specific enough? And I'd be more than happy to help. But do you guys have any questions, or do you want to share before we move forward? These are some of the things on these slides that can really be basic, but move the needle fast. So habits that have a high rate of return, like simple, sleeping 8 hours a day, lifting weights 3 times a week, go for a walk every day, saving 10% of your income, reading every day. It can be simple. Small habits start snowballing into big change.
Do you want me to send these
Yeah, they can have
slides
this.
to just the challengers?
Yeah, that'd be great. And then, like drinking more water and less of everything else. Leaving your phone in another room while you work, or you write, or you meditate, or you read scripture, or you prep your food. Leave your phone in another room. So one of the things, my favorite things, like when I do prep my food, is to interact with my food. Look at it, appreciate it, be in gratitude over it, be so thankful. Thankful for the people that grew it, the time that it took, the sun on it, God giving us this earth and all the water and all the things and the nutrients in it that are going to nourish your body, and just loving it, pouring into it before it comes in. And it's more fun to prepare your food and less exhausting that way. Because I'm telling you, my schedule is crazy, you guys. And squeezing in all the things, you really have to start looking at things optimally all the time. And just looking at how can I make this the best experience possible. And so really just even engaging with your food, feeling happy that you have the ability to go to the store or go to your garden or wherever it is and pick out what you want and wash it and clean it and take it in and enjoy it. Sometimes those things can feel like such a burdensome task. So I don't want to make anything. And then we go through all these other awful things that are quick and convenient that are great. But when you think about it, this is a blessing to have, to be able to bless your body and prepare food and do things like that. And I think that part of our rushed, crazy lifestyle that has been promoted so much, we need to kind of take a second look at how life should really be. And we need to kind of take a second look and slow down and go, man, I need to be really appreciative for what I have and gratitude all the time. Yeah. And when you have gratitude, I told Blake this the other day, but I said, your genes can express in good ways and in bad ways. And when you're in gratitude, immediately all your genes turn on to express in good ways. And when you're frustrated, you're angry, and you're exhausted, all your genes turn on in ways you don't want to express. So I want you to think about that. The more you can be in gratitude over the work that you're doing, because this is work and it is a commitment. Try to be in that mindset.
That reminds me of Lisa, the proverb, "The joyful heart is good medicine."
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's so cool how the science literally.
Oh, 100%. Okay, so I made mention that, maybe you need an expert. So maybe you need a musician, a lifestyle coach, a teacher, a scientist, a skilled, an author, a speaker, a medical expert. Maybe you need a personal trainer, a financial expert. Think of, with your specific goals, think of who might you reach out to and start building awesome relationships with. Maybe you already have some of these people in your life, or maybe you just need to spend a little bit more time cultivating time with them and say, hey, people like to talk about themselves, right? I mean, kind of. And that feels good. Like, they like to talk about what they're good at and what they know. So invite them to share about that because you want to learn from them. That feels good. So just think through those. It doesn't always have to be at a cost. I just came up to a list. I mentioned this, but eliminating the bad alone rarely works. Focus on replacing the bad with effective things. So there's some examples there for you. Unhealthy snacks with nuts, seeds, leftover meat or fruit or vegetables, herbal teas, bone broth, things like that. But try to take out sugar and preservatives and processed things. Replacing TV and social media with educational books or podcasts, prayer, planning, time in nature, music. Replace procrastination with preparation. Carve time out in your schedule. Remember I said schedule time out, say no to everything else and yes to you, or this one thing. And then set out your clothes the night before for everything you're gonna do. When I get ready, like for my training schedule, so you guys, I teach high intensity interval training classes at 5:30 in the morning. I have to get on and be on at 5:20 a.m. So I get up about 4:40 in the morning. And then if I don't, that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On Tuesday, Thursday, I have 2 training clients this is all before I go to the office and work an 8-hour day. And then I come home and I do it again, because I have clients at night. So, and I love that work. I love that work. I was meant to do that work. God planted that seed in my heart. I'm meant to do that work. So I know that He is also helping me learn about my own body and how I can maximize my energy and potential and things like that, because I can get tired. And I have to learn how to schedule. And I have to learn how to be the most prepared so I can maximize sleep. So the night before, I set out all my clothes, I set out the washcloth I'm going to wash my face with, I set out my toothbrush, my toothpaste, and I have it all ready to go so that I can sleep every single minute that I want before I get up, and everything's ready, and it's like, whoop, took me 15 minutes, and I'm out to the gym, and I'm ready to get on, log on, and start talking and demoing and put people through a workout. And that's just one example. You know, that can look like for nutrition, maybe it's every Saturday that you do grocery pickup and you don't go in the store because maybe you're triggered by certain things, like Oreos on the shelf or whatever. And then you're maximizing your time that way, because at home you can inventory your food at the house and you can put it in an app in 2 seconds, and then you can pick it up on the day you want, or you don't even have to pick it up. Maybe your husband or your daughter or your son or whoever can pick it up, and that's what I do in my house. I do the grocery ordering. My spouse picks it up almost every time because we are trying to tag team everything. So those kind of things help me really steer away from making bad choices, help me keep a very good budget, like my food budget, and track it. And it's also convenient because once you've grocery shopped online, and I think you guys have some options too, you kind of have favorites in there and you can just go, yep, click, 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 and I want to reorder these things. So it's fast. So these are just some ideas for you. Okay. Quick. How do you create a good habit and how do you break a bad habit? I'm going to 2 different approaches. One, you got to be intentional. So use I will, and whatever your behavior is going to be, at what time, in what location. And be very intentional. Habit stack. So if you said, okay, as part of this, I'm going to read 10 pages of scripture. What is it that you already do in the morning that you can stack that on? If it's like okay, so this is maybe a poor example for you guys, but what is the first thing most people do in the morning? They go pee. So if I was going to start doing a fitness challenge and it was push-ups, I'm going to go like, hey, pee, push-ups. I'm going to stack my pee habit that's already ingrained, or my toothbrushing habit that's already ingrained, but I'm going to do push-ups right after that or right before that, okay? So that kind of a thing. If you already have something that you do that is so ingrained in your routine, stack the new habit alongside of that as like kind of a triggering reminder moment, okay? Hopefully it's a good habit. Okay, create an optimal environment. Yeah, what was that?
Feed the cats and coffee.
There you go.
In that order.
Okay? Feed the cats and coffee and then sit down with your 10 pages or whatever. Like, did you
Yeah, so I've been doing hydrotherapy, hot shower 3 minutes, cold shower 1 minute. And I found out the Lord's Prayer and the Serenity Prayer are about 1 minute for me saying it, so I do that while I'm in the cold.
Didn't think about that.
That's smart. Getting it all in at once, and it just kind of helps you think, count it down. I love it. Make it attractive. Pair an action that you want to do with an action that you need to do. What do you want to do? And then add something that you need to do with that. Make it attractive. Create an optimal environment. So make the cues of good habits obvious and visible. So maybe you need to like reminders, and then, this sounds so crazy, but women, we spend a lot of time in the bathroom, like dead time, I feel like. So I try to utilize that dead time where I brush my teeth, wash my face, and do all the things that like maybe men don't have to do, or don't do. Just I'm implementing other things. So maybe it's that, part of it is scripture study or time. Maybe that's music that you listen to that gets you in the right mood, or maybe that's a podcast that's educational, that's getting you learning more about your nutrition, what might work and what might not. So just stack those things and make it look inviting and optimal. Also, I would say remove the obstructions and barriers. Okay, so you guys can read through these. I'm not going to give all of them to you, but how do you break a bad habit? Reduce exposure, remove the triggers of the bad habit from your environment when possible. What can this look like? I mean, let's say Starbucks is a bad habit for you, and you're triggered every time you drive by. Go another route. Put something else in its place. At home, before you leave, when you're triggered, when you're going in that route, already have your wonderful cinnamon tea that tastes a little sweet, that is enjoyable, and that's nourishing your body, and have that with you so that you already have your replacement, and go a different route. Find somewhere else that's beautiful to drive to where you need to go, to work, to the office, to home, whatever. Increase friction between you and the bad habit. So take as many steps as you can away from it to make it harder to get to. Don't buy it. Don't put it in front of yourself. Put the phone in another room so you're not tempted to waste your time on social media or other things. Those kind of things. Again, make it attractive. Reframe your mindset so that you highlight the benefits, highlight the good and all the bad. I have had my own office for a long time. And a lot of the other people in my office have had to share and shuffle and share. And I've had share times too, but in the last couple of years, I've had my own office for quite a while. And our office is getting more full and more full, and we keep hiring more people, and we've overrun the whole thing. And everybody else has had to share and move, and they know that I am on private virtual calls a lot during the day. So they have not touched mine. But there's been a recent rearrangement of office space, and so they decided to move me into a space that would be disastrous for the privacy of my work. And my director really advocated for me to not happen. And they said that's just what we're doing. Facilities and maintenance, that's what we're doing. So they finally figured out that wouldn't work. So they're literally going to reframe in a weird reception area to create a new office for me that won't have a window like I have, won't have like all these kind of luxury things that I feel like I have. And a friend of mine that's a coworker reached out and said, "Oh my gosh, I just got the new organizational chart to see like that they're moving you to this, and like I'm so sorry, I feel bad." Like that, she was really like feeling upset for me because she's thinking this is not a good move. And she said, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "I feel fine. I feel like I gotta roll with it. I feel like there's a reason for it to happen, and then it's got to be something good, right? And if I feel like that, and I got that thought, that's probably what's gonna happen." I said, "Just check on me every once in a while, because without a window, I'm afraid it might be a little claustrophobic. That just gives you a reason to come visit every once in a while." She was like, "What? What?" Like, she was shocked by that being the attitude. And I could have chosen another way. And, that sliver of you wants to. But, let's weed it out, and let's focus on the good. Okay. Replace a poor habit with a good one. If you're taking out a garbage coffee creamer, go to Blake and say, "What's a better one?" Go to Lasa or Nicole or someone and say, "What's a better one?" Like what we've gotten into carry, 3 trees and milk that have really clean ingredients and gums and thickeners and emulsifiers that are in your guts. Okay, so we're almost done, you guys. Do hard things, do them often. Why? Every time you do something hard and you get through it, you keep training the body up, keep training the mind up to, I can do more things, I'm a warrior, I can do hard things, I like this. I like how I feel empowered, I feel good about who I am, right? So repetition is critical in successfully implementing a new skill, mindset, or belief. So you've got, this is why Blake's doing these challenges. You've got a set amount of time to repeat to start establishing habits. Determine the path of least resistance is yet most effective. create balance and equanimity. Equanimity means evenness of mind under pressure and stress. So that's what I meant by sharing the attitude. Like, have the right attitude about it. Know you're going to be successful. 25 pounds. I got that. I got this. And then know that if you don't meet it exactly on the date that you scheduled, that dream or that goal never expires. So you're going to get back to the nitty gritty and go, okay, what do I need to adjust or fix? Or how close am I? Let's reset the goal and set another date and move forward towards it again. I shared with you in the beginning some very personal things about me. I spent years building an elite volleyball program. It was important to me. I knew I was called to that calling. Even when I was crazy busy, I was a full-time student. I was a full-time employee, 40 hours a week. And I was like, I don't want to do this if I can't do it 100%. And even after they offered me the job, I went back and said, I don't think I should take it now. I wanted it. I don't think I should take it. Because I just feel like I'm not going to be able to give it everything I ever wanted to. And I said, you know what? If every parent, coach, whatever that does this work with kids thought that, then we would never have a coach. And I was like, you're right. I said, you're going to do it. You're going to be great. And I took that position, and I don't know how it worked out, but I loved it. And I gave it everything I had, but I wasn't successful, right, always. I had a great first year, but I didn't win the state championship. But I just kept being juiced to do that. And we went in 3 times to 5-game sets where we lost by 2 points. In the 5th match, 3 times before we finally made it. And so I was like, my goal never expired. We kept pushing, we kept working, we kept developing. Okay, guys. We filled out our SMART goal template, and I just want to walk away with this Lasa that walk the walk. Walk the walk. Embrace, embody, represent what you want. What the outcome is that you want. Have that mindset, that positivity. Take actionable behavior, because you can't just think it or hope it or dream it. You've got to move and do the work. Okay? So I love that Pablo Picasso quote, action delineates and defines you. It is the foundation to all success. And this last one is just like, if you have questions, we want to give you guys an opportunity for questions, and don't be afraid of failure. Be afraid of being in the exact same spot you were, not next year, but next month or 2 months from now. The little changes might not be everything that you're going to make in this challenge time, but they're going to feel good, and they're going to be enough to make progress to keep perpetuating a cycle that's going to get you closer and closer to where you want to go. Thank you guys. Thanks for your time.
The information provided in this show is intended for your general knowledge only and is not medical advice. If you have or suspect you have a specific medical condition or disease, please consult your healthcare provider. If your provider has a strong understanding of nutrition and holistic health, even better. The opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Nature's Pantry.